Welcome back, guys. We have snow. It was coming down a little bit ago and it stopped. We're into January now. We've had a mild winter. Dawson has this. Well, you explain what it is, Dawson.
2009 Brute Force 750, and I want to get my snow plow on. I brought it in the garage today to do a little bit of fixing on it.
But prior to bringing it in the garage, it wouldn't
start, so we got the old battery jump starter out, and that fired right up, and I got it in the garage here, and I'm going to do a little bit. So I have a problem with my winch. My winch on the front is not working, and the switch, doesn't matter if the key is on or not, it should work, and no matter what, it doesn't make any noise, and the water isn't running. So,
and I'm not totally sure there's anything wrong with it yet because the battery was dead. Go ahead and check your voltage here and see what we got. We got our Klein meter out.
12.48.
And do you know what a good voltage for a battery is?
It should
or for
be
12
like
volt?
0.6 higher, right?
Right. It's a half a volt higher because it's like 1.2 volts a cell, whatever that is, guys. But it ends up being 12.6 volts. Yep. You're a little bit under. So you would think that battery being 12 volts should start this, right?
Right.
Well, let's see if it starts. Do a neutral everything because it didn't outside. Okay, so while it's running, why don't you check your winch then? Actually, check your voltage to make sure you're charging. Do you know what it should be after it's running? Yeah, so there you're 1 volt higher than the battery, which should be 12.6. It should go to 14. So I'm going to rev it up a little bit and see our meter. So it looks like your charging system's great, right? Either it just sits, I don't know what's wrong with it. But let's see if your winch works now. Anything happen?
Nope.
Nothing at all. He's got this pulled way in super tight. He tried to pull the release on it back here, and he can't get it to pull out, right? Nothing. Okay. So let's shut it off so we don't get smogged out. Why don't we check voltage on these leads, because they may not be good. So see if you go to a ground, any of these bolts that are hooked to a metal frame, and then go to each one of them leads. I don't know, you might be on plastic there. No, I don't want you really on the battery, but I'm trying to check to see if we got grounds. You don't have 12 volts. You're not... That's metal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I've seen something simple as a bad connection on the battery, because he recently took these off, and I like these leads on top, not underneath. So you do have 12 volts? On both of them, right?
Yep.
All right, now check this ground if you can get to it, because I didn't like that plastic up under there.
12.6.
Oh, you think you're good. Okay, so now we'll bring the meter up front here. We can probably be somewhere up here where it's safer. And if you can touch both of the leads on the motor, what winch is that?
Is it a Badlands? I don't know.
I think it's a Badlands 2500, right?
Yep.
Okay, put it on your positive negative. And because it's hooked to the battery, we shouldn't need the key on, correct? Tell me when you're on it.
All right.
And I'm going to press the winch out button, winch in button. And I've got winch out. Yeah, we're not getting any. Can you hold that still? Because it's jumping all over. Can you press and turn a little bit? We're not getting voltage down there. See that? It's 0. We're doing both sides of the switch. So now we'll come up and see what else is going on here. What other connection is along the way? I don't think it's fused. I think it has a circuit breaker. Comes up into this box. See, Dawson had a little injury on this. He went with some friends, and where'd you go? Trail riding, right?
Yeah.
And you smacked into some things here, and he's cracked his grill.
So crack.
And anything else? That's broken.
I think that's been like that.
You think it's been like that? So he wants to fix that, so that's got to be unbolted. And then, so down here in this control box, maybe turn that light on, we can see better. See how that's connected. I want to see if this is something simple. And pull that lead out, that plug there. There's water and junk in that. That's where your handheld winch goes in. Could be a connection problem. Does anything look obvious here? You know what else I don't like? When they mounted this, you see this is hot and negative right next to your shock. This is moving parts. Check for a short or a broken wire, you know. Because right now you have no voltage down there. If we could get inside this box, what's this held on with? I don't see anything.
Zip tie.
No, but I mean, what's the box? Oh, you think the cover might come off if you clip that?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let's see if it wiggles. I think it's a back on it.
Oh.
There's a backing on it, so it separates somehow. I don't see screws. If that was easy, I would check it right there to see if you have power there. And then what else you got coming back through here? No problems up under there?
Yeah.
Okay, we could come back to this circuit breaker. And we need voltage. And this is put together with Phillips screws. So I guess that's simple if you want to take that apart and just be careful. And we'll come back on when he gets this apart to see if there's, you know, a bad connection or the circuit breaker stuck open. All right, so he's got this apart. And it's just a simple, it looks like a 20, no, it's a 50 amp breaker. And so check with your ground on your battery to this side. And you should have 12. So that tells you that this connection and that connection is good, right? Mm-hmm. So now put your negative on your battery again. Check this side. All right, so that tells the breaker's good. Now I'm going to press the button, see what happens. Doesn't change whatsoever, does it?
Not really.
So this is probably okay going on down, but somewhere to that switch is a problem. So if you could locate these wires and find out where the nearest connection is, he could have got water in it or stick poked it or something. But we're not getting power down there, and it only works with that switch. So can you tell what color?
Can you move this, jiggle this wire?
Can you tell what color wires it is?
I see something hanging down here.
Okay, move your fingers.
Look at it.
I know, but don't touch anything. Kind of look here. I see electrical tape up here on something. Let me in there.
Wires hanging down.
All right.
Is that what's not hooked up? Is that our problem?
Ooh.
That's not hooked to the battery.
What color is it?
Red.
Well, that's probably the one that goes up to the switch. So when he disconnected the battery, he took it out and he charged it, and it's very possible that connection fell down. So wait a minute before you move it anymore, is that could be positive, right?
Yeah.
So what should you do?
Check it?
No, you disconnect your negative battery cable so you don't spark anything out. You use that screwdriver, and we'll just take these off. Could be something simple that he did, but he was out in the shed with no light out there, and his battery was dead, and I told him bring it in, we'll charge it, and we did overnight. And it's probably just fell off, and that's one thing you don't check is a winch, right? If it started, you didn't think anything's wrong with it. Leave the nut in there. Just get the clips out of the way. And then, now pull, can you see where that wire is? You need a flash?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you need a flashlight?
Yeah.
Let's see where it's up here.
I don't even know if it's long enough.
Maybe look underneath and see where it goes. We'll come back on when we figure out where that wire goes.
I think it just fell down in.
And it's colored red, correct?
It
And it won't reach a negative cable, right?
just a dumb mistake. No.
Well, that's cool. But that's not all that's wrong with this winch, right? The reason
Right. We want to unspool it because
it wound over itself or it pinched itself or something. I'd take them both out because I don't like how you got this. This needs to be on there first, like that. And then the two accessories go on. I don't like these clips. Look at this. They're half clips, so this one would have to go under it. Do you want to change these out and put round clips on it?
if you got them.
I think we just bought some. Let's cut. I don't like them because if he, hits a bump or something, this falls off, whatever.
Yeah.
Let me see if we got some. All right. Realize our garage project here is under construction, so a lot of stuff's out in the shed. This doesn't go large enough, so we'll place them over there. And if you remember, I did my four-wheeler cutoff switch. I bought these. I didn't need them all, but I thought getting different sizes makes sense. This one that he fell down here is a full circle, right? Mm. But look at that wire. That's like an 18 to 22 gauge wire. It's a tiny wire, but it's got a full circle on it. This circuit breaker is 50 amps. That's a lot of current, and somebody had the wrong size clip, and they just ground it off so it fit right here. And fingers in the way. I'm just worried that 50 amp thing can fall off, so let's cut this off, strip the wire back. We'll put on one that fits in there. So Dawson, grab your bolt and get the smallest size that fits. Probably one of these. Perfect. All right, grab two of them. We'll move this out of the way so I don't lose them down in there. Take your wire cutters here. And you can cut right through the edge of that plastic, the yellow. Not too far up, but keep your wire length as much as possible. Those pliers are the ones you were helping me on a kitchen job. Remember when the homeowner said the breaker's off, go ahead and remember doing that? And zap! Remember there's a cut in them. So I didn't bring over the black pair. Oh, in that bucket's a black pair, right? Is there a different one in there? That's my little electric bucket. Because these cheesy ones here, they're not worth a darn. There you go. Lineman pliers will work. Then clean that up. And then this is probably, I don't know if that's 8 gauge. That's pretty big. So I don't know if you can use these strippers on the large 10, the biggest one. And let's look at your clip. You need about a 1/2 inch. It'd be nice to solder these, but we're not going to do that today unless I can find the solder. He's going to strip this one. He's going to do the black one. And we'll come back on. Austin's going to try these auto pliers by Vice Grip, see if they work good. Do it kind of quick. Don't do it slow. It'll poop, pop it. And then turn the wire. It's a pretty heavy wire, so. Because that other cheesy little tool doesn't work very good, does it?
There we go.
Oh, that worked good, didn't
Beautiful.
it? And then it looks like it's a hair long for your fitting, right?
Right. So let's clip it off.
And that has a cutter on it.
So we're gonna need like 1/4 inch off.
There's a cutter right there. Might be strong enough to get rid of that. Try to move it out here so you don't get little copper pieces down in there. He's gonna clip that off. And then I found some solder. We'll solder these up. That sharp enough? Oh yeah, nice. All right, put her in your connector. It might be too short now, isn't it? I think so. We'll come right back on. All right, so you strip that a little bit longer. Make sure all your little whiskers are in there, right? Perfect. Now leave it on there, and then
We'll crimp it.
yeah, just turn your clip. You don't need to turn your wire. There you go. Now hold it up in the air slightly. And then, you want me to do the torch, you do the solder, or you do the torch, I do the solder? All right. So just remember where your flame's going. Get your fingers back farther. And he's going to solder this. He's never done it before.
Oh.
Fire it up. Hit the clip, not your wire. Get it up closer. A lot closer. A lot closer. Keep that clip up. It'll all get hot. And then, all right, shut the flame. It should pull our solder right in there. See that?
Oh,
Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that, where is it? There we go.
That's pretty good.
Blow on it. Cool it down quick. Let's look at it again.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, put your
Focus
hand under
it.
it for focus. Huh?
Just tap.
Let's see here. Well, that's not bad at all, is it? And then you sucked it right up and around. So see, that won't give him any issues. All right, let's do the positive side. I think I'm going to do the flame this time. Dawson wants to try the solder. And then I'm going to let the drippings go in the bucket. Don't put the solder there. You want the heat. We'll move the solder away. It's hot, so it'll draw it right in there. If you want, touch this side too.
All right.
Go ahead. Touch and draw it in there. Not quite as pretty as the other one, but he's going to do a tug test. Grab your plier on there, gently pull out, make sure your connection's tight. You like it?
Yep.
Okay, let's do the tug on the one that's cooled down here too, on the negative. Where'd that one go? You like that?
Yep.
Okay. So now he can go ahead and assemble all this. So he's going to assemble his circuit breaker first. Remember, we had power on both sides of that. We had no power down at the motor, and that switch did nothing. So we think this other little cable over there was unhooked for the switch. So this black is his positive cable. On this end, they marked it red. It's not red here, so I want to put a piece of red tape on it so that, you know, he doesn't hook it up wrong. I'm surprised nobody's done it backwards yet. I got a piece of old duct tape. We'll use some of that. Now he's got some red tape on, and then, see, these are designed so the end of this cable's got that bend over. He had them in the wrong order, but this is designed to fit down tight onto that. So he's going to do it differently. Get his loops in there. And what's the last one? This little guy, right? I just put a bolt in there to keep it from falling. Always hook your positive up first. Always disconnect your negative first.
Stop moving it.
You like these tiny little bolts and things? That'd be cool if this works now. But once he gets the motor working, this next thing to do would be to figure out why the winch is crossed over, you know, the cable's overwound or something. Now he's got his negative on. He's got no parts left. All his cables are hooked up. So, is it time to test your winch now, right? Let me come out here while he does that and see if any action happens. It does.
I just think it's tangled.
Does it go out? Are you pressing the out button?
Yeah.
It's bound in there, isn't it?
Yeah,
So he'll do the out, and I'll tug on this.
But at least
we'll see if we get it broke free and loosen that little turnbuckle. So move your hand here. This cable is so tight that we can't pull the release on that. So I suggested he takes the easiest part and loosens this fair lead up and see if it'll come up in the air and take about a quarter, half inch off the cable. I think somebody was playing with a button there and just yanked it in. What happened here? You hit something hard, didn't you? Did you run into another machine with it? took all the paint right off that, dented it. If that loosens that up, then we can pull this cable out and get this. I think it's wound over itself. What were you doing that day? Skidding logs or something? What, do you remember what you were using it for?
Yeah, skidding. Kind of.
All right, he's got the bolts on it. There. Is the cable free now?
Yeah.
All right, now, see if you can pull your little red button out there, knob, to release, pull out and turn 90 degrees. Is it stuck? Still stuck?
Stuck.
We might have to take this whole thing out of there. It's going to be a pain, isn't it? Now, my Honda has an area where one can bolt, and I don't have the Honda bracket, so I just threw mine up on the rack. You're not supposed to have them up high, but I got sick of monkeying with it, and I said, you know, I'm just going to put it up there. And after I put it up there, it works great for my snowplow because it's already up high. So it works out good for that. We're going to fight this a little bit. He said he pressed the out, but it went in. And now I want him to take the hook off, the fairlead off, give us some access in here, and then we'll probably have to take this whole thing out. There's something totally wrong with this. I think it might be a problem in there, guys. Look at that. It's like you half wound it up over top. So it looks like there was dirt or stick in the way when the fairlead went in or something, and it went over itself. So if he is super good at this, let me see here. If he could feed the cable over and back under and unwind it that way for a bit would help. But right now we can't get that release lever to go. So he might have to pull this whole thing out, which is held on with clamps. 4 clamps on it, and they're a pain, aren't they? They're lock nuts, and they're in weird spots, so you might have to use a wrench. On the disassembly, he's going to try to just lift the motor right off. Be a lot easier, and he can slip it right out the end. What else do you have to do when that gets loose, Dawson?
Huh?
Over on that end, you see your electric wires?
Yeah, be careful.
No. Yeah, unhook them. So before you go too far, look at you gotta disconnect them, and remember what's happening now. Is there power? Let's check and see if there's power on them. If there's no power, you don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, unhook them and then wrap tape on them.
I hooked the front and rear mounting bolt of the winch. Take that out of there. Look at all the crap caked in there.
Wow, that cable's wrapped over. Let's look at the backside. Oh, it's pinched, isn't it?
Yeah, so.
Don't bend that. We're going to take it up here and so we can see it and try to get her unspooled.
Guys, for some reason now, look at this. It works easy. So, I released it. And we're going to pull this out. I believe it's around 50
We got to go
feet.
around the front. Though.
And we're gonna clean it.
And then I think there's a kink in it, right?
Yeah. But we'll fix this up and see it got tangled around the bolt.
I think we'll go outside and hook it on the hitch of the truck or trailer. Pull on that sucker.
But we got it released, so that's good.
And then, how do you hand wind it? You don't on this one, do you? You have to electric wind it, don't you? Can you turn the wheel? I don't know on this model.
No.
So you have to power it back in. So I guess we still got to pull the cable out. But it looks like it's halfway, so we might only have to go out 25 feet. Maybe we can do it here in the garage. Unspool this and get it. But you got to turn it around. It's got to come out the front. You don't want to bend this. This keeps the cable tight, so don't bend that.
There we go. Here's what I found. Is that's on the outside of that. That's the first spool.
So that's what pulled it tight, and you couldn't free reel it. All right. But he's trying to bend this back out of the way, and you don't want it. You want the spring tension to hold it on, so this can't come out. So he probably got a stick stuck in it or something. There's a little junk under there. So we're going to free this out and then rewind it. Snap some vice grips on that. Let's see if we can get this to move. He's not have a whole lot to hang on to there. Maybe let it roll toward me. Like that. There we go. Now we can see it. Yeah, you got it. Right there's that kink. So we got to go out about 25 feet, I think. Don't pinch your fingers. Oh, that fairly didn't work too good, did it? It's supposed to slide back and forth.
It's pretty bad.
I wonder if we have to bolt it to the tractor and pull on it or something. Use his wheeler to tug it out. You got it? I don't want to pull you out of the chair. Wow. Yeah, we got to fix this, guys. So we need something stronger than that. The other way is there's 2 bolts right here. We can take that spring out of the way if that's going to help us. They're Phillips and then little...
I say put the D-loop or the hook back on it and hook it on a tractor and something.
We could use jumper cables, but we got to actually bolt it to something because we're not going to be strong enough to hold that 2,500 pound test. But that wound right under there, so we got to free that all up. It'd be nice if they designed them where you can unbolt this and pop the end off, just slide all that off and restart.
Let's do the whole, unspool the whole thing. And respool it all.
Yeah, so this takes a while. Nothing's easy, right? All right, we got a couple flurries coming down. We're going to use a truck hitch. We got a couple holes in the snowplow. He's got 1 bolt in this. I'm going to have him roll ahead slow. Go ahead. We're going to watch this. 2 feet. Just go real slow to get tension on it. We're going to see if this will loosen this up because that is tough. Might want to drag the tractor back. Slower. Slower. It's working good though. Yeah, see where it's overlapped? Right there is a kink in it. Alright, good! Now lock it in and we're all set, guys. See, he's got a little kink in that. Back her up! Got 2 little kinks. Here's another one. So that worked out pretty slick. So now I think you can go ahead and wind this back up. I wish I had a hand winder and we could, you know, do it without running all that battery power. It's about a 50-footer anyway on here. That worked out slick, didn't it?
Yeah.
So now he's all set to do that. Go ahead and park the truck back and lock her up, and we're gonna go back inside and finish this up.
Alright, so I decided I want to take it all out and respool the whole thing, and I got all the major kinks out with the truck, so now I'm just gonna pull the rest of this out here. You got a tangle here.
Slow down. Now you got another 5 feet. Well, maybe more. That's pretty long cable. That's 50 feet or more. Okay, there you go. So now when he goes to wind it up, like a garage door openers, you can come and control it all the way across there instead of having it flop here and back and forth. And he's going to make sure this spring is going to have tension on it.
So how is this held then? Look at
It comes in and it's got a little hook loop. And once you wrap over itself, you're never supposed to pull it out all the way. So the cable tension, don't pull it out. Just go ahead and hook it. Like that. And then that's it. And then when you do wind it, one person will do the switch, the other guy will do the fair lead.
Yeah.
And he'll be back in business. Now, this spring steel is supposed to keep the cable tight against the drum. See, it'll go all the way in and touch. But I saw Dawson prying on it, and I think over time it probably got a little weaker. Somewhere in this, it was about half a spool. It went over top of itself and got wound up. So I think he should unbolt this or hammer this, try to keep it straight, but get that to go in and touch. And as it rolls, it's going to move out and out and out. But that'll hold tension on the cable. So hopefully it'll come this way and then come back and go this way and back and not just go over top of itself. So we hit it with a block of wood there and move it back and forth. See how close to the drum it is now. I think that's going to work great. So there was a couple little kinks down the row, but if you look at this, see, that's in pretty decent shape. And then you come up where that bad one was. Look at that. You don't want to run your hands. You should have gloves on. But there's 2 here and 1 there. So I don't think this cable's going to last, you know, too long. But you can't really put tape on there. It'd be nice if you put shrink wrap or something on that. But I think he's going to set his pliers on there. Just try to straighten it up and remind himself to put gloves on if he's going to handle his cable anywhere. Just get the kink out so it don't rewrap itself. What I would like is a synthetic rope. And I think they're around, what, $50 probably for this. I would use it till it dies, but I think basically that spring was weak and it didn't wind proper. So he's going to monkey with that, and then he's going to start hooking it up and spooling it up. So, you know, Dawson, he's got on this growth spurt. He's almost 6 foot tall now, so he doesn't like to bend over anymore than I like to. He wants to use this little Beaver trolley that we, and the chain hoist that we got. Works pretty slick. And we're going to see his wheeler. See if you can move the front end over, Dawson. He's got a pretty big wheeler compared to my Honda. I can slide my Honda over, but this thing is heavy. Yeah, it's a 750, so it's pretty heavy. And I think, what, do you want to raise it up in the air? I'd hook it right on your luggage rack. And I think if he lifts the front end up about 2 feet, he can basically reach that hitch.
Are we going the right way?
No. Let go of that chain and do both on this. 1 on each. Let go of it. Hook it on there first. And then both, yeah, like that. And we're going to see how well this will lift. We got the lift right here, but I got a bunch of junk in there. That should work pretty slick. The thing with chain falls is they're not fast, but that's all right. You got another ratchet under here.
Watch. Probably should lock it. Should I?
No, let it roll. What you should do is drop your battery box down, though. You don't want to drop that on the floor. And move your seat, but you do have a ratchet of mine under there. You're going to run it over.
What?
A ratchet. That's all right. It'll roll forward and then it'll go backwards. I still got to take some stuff out of here, but I'm going to get ready to mud the remainder of the walls in here and sealing and get it painted. Then I'll start putting my garage in order. That's a, I think it's a 2,200 pound, but how much is the chain fall? Is it 1,000? I don't recall, but plenty heavy enough for this. But this way, he could sit on my rolling stool if we could find it, or we got a 5-gallon bucket. He could sit here and put the winch on, sitting right down. That's fine, Dawson. We'll just let her ride. I like doing the lawnmower blades like that, too. That'll give me an idea. Now you got to put your bolts in and your fair lead on, pull your cable out the front, right? That's a bracket that I didn't have for my motor. I think you brought the motor this way, Dawson. So you'll have to put the cable up through first. I think mine's 50 foot too. Well, I'd prefer to have the synthetic rope. I think they're a lot easier to deal with. So he's going to put his bolts in, and then he's going to put that fair lead connector on. He's got to pull his cable hook off, and then we're going to spool that up. So he's got this winch bolted back in. He's got his wires on. fair lead's on. He's got his hook back on the end. And what happens?
It goes out, but it won't go in.
Yeah, the switch will go out, but won't go in. It does one way. So we think possibly this solenoid's stuck. So he's taking this backing off and see if the contacts are stuck together. Maybe we can test this out also to see if we have power when we press the switch. So my concern is when he had that dead battery and he took this wire off, that's when this started. I've got my battery box on there charging at 13.5 now, but he had that wire hanging down here and it might have arced out on something, or it may not be related at all. And when this went in last time, it went in so hard and just jammed, maybe because the solenoid got stuck. Now, my experience with electricity is when you get low in voltage, things get hot. So if his battery was down and he ran the winch, remember the last time you used the winch? Weren't you in the woods or something? You got stuck back there and you used the winch to get out? You ran to get the battery box?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you get low voltage, it's possible that contact's got stuck. So he's going to take that cover off. We're going to see what this solenoid looks like. So he took the back cover off the solenoid. Let's look in here. Turn that around. Empty your hands. Don't have a screwdriver in there with electricity. Turn this around so we can see it. What do we got going on here? Quite a bit, huh? What can you see? Tell me.
A lot of wood.
You got your power. I don't know what's in here. They said contact stuck. So see if this moves at all. See if that'll come up out so you can see it. Let's get the flashlight up here. So I don't know. This is 50 amps. What's that cut wire right there, Dawson?
I don't know.
That don't look right, does it? Why would there be a cut wire right there? There certainly is. Is there another one? See, this Badlands winch came with a remote control. And on this unit, they didn't use it. It's a little key ring thing like on my Honda, but they got that nicer switch up there, right where his hand is. So he can do his remote while he's driving. Mine, I got monkey around, reach down, it swings all over. It's a little bit annoying. His is faster. So they took off a black wire. They got electrical tape here. Isn't that the same wire right there? The same color. I don't know what they did here. So what they did is they went to a manual switch, which is this wire, right? Right here. Must go up to the switch. What else is right here? Is that part of it? We got to learn this, guys. We don't know what we're doing here. Obvious, you can tell. I was thinking it'd be like switch contacts that we can see, but apparently they're down under this cover also, so kind of like points and condenser kind of thing on an ignition. I don't see anything we can control. I don't like this wire just being cut, but it looks like it's a negative lead. This is your hot lead. Nothing smells hot, right? Doesn't smell burnt. But we could put a tester in here and check these, pressing the switch, and if it lights up, then it could be the motor. And then the other thing I was wondering is if he wired this backwards. It doesn't say positive on here anyway, right? No plus sign. But down here there is a red washer. I think it's red. So he thought it went there. So I didn't take it apart, so I didn't see it. But we're going to find this, figure this out. On closer inspection, the wired remote comes into the outside. Somebody's been in here and they just clipped them all right off, tied them up. Then this wire went into that, and that's cut. Hold this, Dawson, so don't fall over. And then this clip, you pull it back like that. See, there's no tension whatsoever on that. It's like it's not even making contact. That could be burnt. We were trying to pull it off, but it won't come off in there. So we might squeeze it in place. Everything needs a tight connection on electric. And then the other end of this, they taped all these wires together that they cut down there. It's kind of, I don't think that's proper, but it worked. So they just got rid of the wired remote and went to the switch instead of the wireless. So what we got on that solenoid is it's a sealed unit. I was hoping you can pop it apart and see if the contacts are stuck. We think it's defective. I'm sure there's a way to test it. I put the meter on it, and I only have power in one direction. I didn't show you that. So I told Dawson to take these wire connections off, but prior to doing that, he pressed the button and it spooled in a clockwise direction looking at that end. So I had him take the wires off, and I'm just holding on them with no nuts on them. Hit it again, and now it's spooling out. So what button are you pressing to spool out though?
In.
And then what'd you do on the other one?
Oh.
So that tells us that both sides of that switch up there is working. So the solenoid is defective. I found one similar for $27, but I don't think we should buy one similar. Grab these leads here. I don't want them getting, grab a hold, take them off, whatever, but remember they're hot. One of them's hot. And then this is a 7-pin. There's 4 copper lugs, flat spades sticking up, and then there's 3 push-on spade connectors. So it's a 7-pin, and we need all 7 to work. So I need a 7-pin connector. I'll see if we can get the exact fit for this. I think what happened is this got stuck and it pulled right on. He probably pressed the switch, maybe low voltage with the battery dead, because he got stuck and then he took the battery pack out. And I think it spooled in and the contact stuck, and it just kept going and jammed it right in there, didn't it? I bet you that's it. And it overheated this. So we're going to try to get a solenoid for it. So it probably won't be all in this same video, but I'll check and see how quick we can get one and see how much they are. All right. We got that cover off, you know. I pulled these wires off. They have little lock pins on it. You pull them off. And then I applied battery voltage to here, and it clicks, turns the motor on, and it goes out. I put battery voltage on this side of the solenoid. Nothing happens, does it? So because we had these wires disconnected, they go up to the switch. Okay, this used to be a remote control, but they made it a wire one, and so they changed color code here. But I tested this side of the connector, and the wires are fine. So I put the test light on there, and it lights up with the switch on one side only. And then when you spool in, when you spool out, we have 12 volts. When we spool in, we have 0. So Dawson's taking a switch off up here, and there's 3 wires on that switch. We've got a positive from the battery, and then these 2 colors, the green and black, going down to that. So we're checking to see if there's 2 problems. Possibly the switch stuck, burnt the solenoid. I think the solenoid has an issue too, because we can't get it to spool out down there. We got the switch up here, and what we can do here is, let's see that, well, we have to hook the battery back up to use a test light, or we can use an ohm meter. But you look right here in these holes, you see that, Dawson?
Yeah.
You see that switch flop side to side?
Yep.
And listen closely. It sounds good. So we would have 12 volts at the red wire, and we could have a broken wire here somewhere along this line, because, you know, he went through sticks and mud, whatever, and these wheelers have, you know, real thin wires on them. If we put the ohm meter on here with the battery disconnected, we can put it on this terminal, and click it. And that should give us, you know, like 0 resistance. And then we do the other side. That'll tell us if this switch is good. If they work from here, from the next point to that down there, won't work. So we'll figure out which is which. So we're getting out of focus here. Just taking this switch, pressing the sides, and we can get this out. hold on that thing. We looked up a switch. We can't find this exact same one. We find a similar one, and it's like 4 days out and $20. And I just thought, if the switch is bad, let's see if we can take it apart. Occasionally, you can find like a little burn on it, which that does look down there. So if we pop these springs out, we should be able to pull this whole switch right up out of there. So we took the center spring out, which is the switch activator. These two side springs, not really sure what they do yet. I'll hold this. And then I want to lift this. You're up too high, kid. Is the rocker. I want to get that rocker out of there. It looks burnt to me. Maybe I can clean the contacts, put it right back in. So the contact fell out, which is all right. There's a little blue burn on it. And then down in the switch, we got a water. See that green in the corner? So I think I can get in there and get in focus with a little file and file that contact, because that rocker switch moves back and forth. And that's all it does, is make continuity from one side to the other. And so I might be able to clean this up. So I put that switch back together after I cleaned all the contacts in there. Now I'm just going to temporarily hook this up. And let's see, they're opposite. So the in on this side is opposite over there. So I think I got that hooked up right. What I want to do is hook the battery back up and test this switch to see if it goes both directions, to see if it's our solenoid or just the switch. But to confirm that before I hook the battery up, let's go ahead and do an ohm test on it before the power's put to it to confirm that I repaired the switch. We'll zoom me into the meter. I don't remember what project I was doing. Let's see if we can turn that a little bit. But the face of the meter got a little melted on something. Might be a little hard to see, but let's see here. Might be able to see that. There you go. I'm going to put it on one side of the contacts, which is going to be the outside. It doesn't matter, but let's just check all three to see if I repaired that switch. And I wish these were alligator clips. It'd be easier to hold, or I had a helper out here, but let's see. I clicked it one way, nothing. I clicked it the other way, right? Not yet. Right there. There you go. You see that change? So that side's working. Now let's check this side. Remember, one side of the switch worked. It spooled out, but it wouldn't spool in. Now I'm on the other side. Check that out. So the switch is repaired by cleaning the contacts. It was blue in there, and it had gotten water in the switch. And I think I know why. I think I'll mention this to Dawson. Is up here. Oh, I'll get you up here where you can see this. On the handlebar, where's the bracket? Right there's the bracket. And the switch was facing straight up. So I think when it rained, water got in it. I think I'm going to recommend to him if he could tilt it toward him, it would be better. And it would be more of a sideways fashion. So I'm going to hook up the battery here, take a minute, and then I'll test this switch with the solenoid, because like I said, that solenoid looks good. It's just when I powered one side, nothing happened. I could hear it clicking, and that was it. Wouldn't power the motor. Okay, I've got the solenoid just sitting on a tire there. I got, it's hot, whatever. So I'm going to go and click the switch now. You listen to see if it works both out or in. So I'm going to do the out. Yes, that still works. Now you can hear the switch working. You couldn't hear the solenoid before, only when I applied power down there. So it appears that our solenoid is bad. The motor does function, and I think there's two ways we can go about this. I think in the short term, if we want to spool this wire in, there's two ways of doing it. We can go to the switch and it spools out. I can swap the wires there, which should reverse the direction. Or down here at the motor, I can reverse these two wires. And that'll make it spool in and not spool out. And this way he doesn't have 50 foot of cable dragging in the garage while we wait for a solenoid to come. And we put the solenoid back together, put it back in the box, get it protected, tape up those wires that they had cut previously, and get the solenoid coming. I think I found one for around $20, something like that, but I think it's 3 or 4 days. But the other thing is, if he doesn't want to spend any money at all, we probably could have him just pull this release and do the free spool out when he needs the winch right now, and then it'll spool back. You definitely need a winch to pull back. If he gets stuck or something, or he wants to drag a log, he'll have to get off and unspool it by hand, pull it out. I guess he'll probably want it to work both directions if he puts a snowplow on. So, but for today, I think we can just do that to get this to spool up and wind up. Check it out. Woo! Wow! Woohoo! That's the reason for getting a four-wheeler snowplow going. We're expecting to get a few more inches. We need to get over to our wood pile, the buildings. The four-wheeler makes nice little trails over to the propane tanks, miscellaneous stuff, rather than using the tractor, gouging the lawn out. But check this out. Woohoo! So Dawson's out here. I'm going to have him do the switch, and we'll look at this solenoid. So that's a spool out. Now he's doing spool in. And you can see the contacts. Just keep doing the spool in. So you can see the switch closing here. So I think the solenoid is defective. I'm going to roll this around. He's going to try it again. See if we get a better view here. So apparently there's a contact that's broke on the inside, I'm assuming. So I'm going to order that solenoid. For now, we're going to leave it on the spool in, and then we can get the cable brought in. All right, so we reversed the wires up there at the switch. Now go ahead and hit the spool in. There we go. Now hit the spool out. You can hear the solenoid clicking. So for now, you can at least wind the cable up and get this all set and wait for the solenoid to come. So Dawson's putting a glove on because I don't want that wire catching his fingers. And I'm going to go spool the switch, and he's going to slide it across and see how good this works. And we'll get this all spooled on there. You're probably only supposed to run a winch about 45 seconds. So I'm going spool in. You ready?
Slow.
You gotta hit your
Release. There
you gotta get that in there. You ready?
Yep.
Alright, what I recommend is move your hand back a foot. Alright, and then go left and right with it. Make sure you got time enough to get your hand out of the way. Like it? Awesome. I'll run this for under a minute. There's no load on it, so it won't hurt. I really want this cable coming before we get it damaged. Is it looking good?
And then that spring on the back should hold the cable tight against the drum and help you spool it. I want you to move your hand out though. Stay a foot from it so you don't get pinched. Keep bringing your hand out farther.
Keep going. Because I won't have time to stop it, you know. I don't want your fingers to. Alright, where cables are hooked here, but we'll go a little bit more. And I want your hand held a foot away so I don't pinch your fingers, because that would hurt. And is it spooling nice? And that gives this a second to cool down. Does the motor feel hot? No. See, if it's under load, it'll get hot. You don't want to keep it going. You ready? Just stay a foot from it, because I don't want your fingers in there. Left and right with it? Yeah. We're about halfway. Right? We got about 25 feet on here. All right, stop. I'm going to let it cool a second. Down to like 3 feet. Put your hand out farther. Grab that hook so you don't get pinched. Okay, grab the hook. There we go, guys. So how'd that look in there? That's not perfect, but that's a lot better than it was. And now we're gonna wait for our solenoid. And I've got a 7. There's a 4 spade and then 3 of these little flat guys. So I ordered a 7-pin solenoid, and I guess we can get rid of some of these wires at that point. There's no reason to leave them in there, and then we can tape up the end or put some shrink wrap on them. So thanks for watching. I'm going to end this video here. We're going to wait a few days, get the solenoid, then I think Doss can probably test this out.